right, so here we're going to talk about midpoint and endpoint. This is one of my favorite. If you're one of those people that love formulas and plugging it in and then solving it, this is your lesson. So here we go, midpoint and endpoint. We're going to start with the warm-up as usual. So go ahead and pause the video. This should be review material. Pause the video, try it, and then I'm going to go over it. Okay, so these are a little more complex than the ones we had in our lesson, but I believe that you guys can figure this out. So basically, if this whole distance is, it's asking for JH, so which is this whole distance here, but we don't know what JI is. So we got to figure out what JI is. So if we know this whole distance is 12 and this is 10, I can find this one by subtracting 12 minus 10, which is 2. Okay? And then now we got to figure out JH is this whole distance. So 2 plus 11 will give me what JH is. So 2 plus 11, which is 13. Okay, so JH is equal to 13. All right, going down, we're trying to find JK. If we know this whole distance is 19, and also part of this distance is 3, part of it's 11, and we don't know what JK is, we're going to take 19. Okay, if we subtract 3, okay, it'll give me this distance. So we're getting closer. We know what JL is after that. Then we can also subtract 11 from this. And look, we're now just left with JK. So 19 minus 3 minus 11 gives me 5. And we're done. All right, so then it says, write if this is a point, line segment, line, or ray, and give its name. Okay, so first of all, we need to figure out, okay, what is this? Okay, this is definitely a line segment. I'm going to wait for you to think through it. Or you already did these, so. All right, so here we go. So this is a line segment because there's an endpoint and an endpoint, okay? With a line, it goes on forever. A ray, it's at one point, it goes forever in one direction. So this is a line segment. So we go ahead and answer that part of the question. Then I'm gonna label this as NO, no, or on, and there you go. If we had, like, let's say a little letter over here, like a H or something like this, so we could also name it line H. So just kind of throwing that out there. But since we don't have that, we wouldn't say it. All right, so let's go ahead and go into definitions of the midpoint and the segment bisector. Ooh. So midpoint is the point that divides the segment into two congruent segments. So this is important. If you know a lot of information, if you know something is a midpoint, you can tell a lot of information about the line, okay? You can discover a lot of cool things. So just knowing that can tell you a lot about it. Then a segment bisector is a point, ray, line segment, or a plane that intersects at a midpoint. It bisects the segment. So go ahead and start this definition. It will be important on your test. So if you want to kind of make note of that, you can. All right, then let's go down here to our first question. So this is what I mean by using the definition of midpoint. I know M is midpoint. Okay, good. I know some information about this. Then VW. Find the length of VW. So this is a minus sign. This is a plus sign. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Since I know that this is the midpoint, I know these two parts are congruent. So I can. That's what these little symbols mean. That means I can set these two expressions equal because I know those segments are equal. So 4x minus 1 is equal to 3x plus 3. And look at there. What do y'all think we got to do next? We got to solve for x. So we want variables on one side, constants on the other. So I only want numbers here, no variables. So I'm going to subtract the 3x on this side. If I do it on this side, I also have to do it on this side. These cancel. This is left with 1x, or just x minus 1 is equal to 3. I just want variables on this side, so I'm going to add this 1 over here. We get x is equal to 4. So now that we have x is equal to 4, is that what it asked for? Did it ask for what x is? No, it asked for the length of VW. So we have to plug this x back in to figure out what this side is equal to, or one of the sides are equal to. So 4x minus 1, we're just going to plug into that one. 4 times 4 minus 1 should equal 16 minus 1, which is 15. Okay? And then let's go ahead and plug it into the second part because it's asking for the length of the whole thing. So 3 times 4 plus 3. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3, which is 15. Hold up. Did I do some extra work that I did not need to do? Yeah. Right? If I knew this was 15, I could have then said, oh, these two are equal. This is 15, this is 15. So what's the length of the whole thing? 15 plus 15, 30. So VW is equal to 30. Now, if you want to go ahead and plug it back in and do this extra work, you can. Because if, let's say you got x wrong and you got it, or let's say if you got these two, or let's just say these two numbers were different when you plugged them back in, you would know you did something wrong over here. So this is a good way to check your work. All right. Let's go on to you try. You can go ahead and pause it and try these next two on your own. All right, you're back. Hopefully you did both of these. Again, these are two expressions. It's saying just to solve for x, so we don't have to plug anything in. We're just solving for x. So when we do that, we're going to set them equal to each other, and we're going to solve. This is x plus 2, add 2, x is equal to 9. Okay. And then same thing here, 126, why am I writing 26 is equal to negative 7 minus 2. I'm going to try to kind of separate this. Sorry. Oh gosh. This is very messy. I'm sorry. We'll distribute the negative 7. So 126 is equal to positive 14. These are two negatives. We're distributing, so this becomes a positive 14x. We will then subtract 14. 126 minus 15. I'm going to rewrite it over here. Sorry, y'all. So this is 112 equals 14x divided by 14. And we get 8. All right. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry about that. All right. Let's go on to the midpoint formula. Okay, so this is when we're given a line on a coordinate plane, and now it's asking, okay, what's the midpoint? So we're given these 2 points. I'm going to rewrite them over here. E is negative 2, 3, and F is 5, negative 3. All right, so that would be step 1, just kind of rewriting them. Step 2 would be then, okay, I'm going to label this first point. It doesn't matter which one you label, x sub 1, x sub 2, but I'm going to label this first one x sub 1, y sub 1, and this second one x sub 2, y sub 2. All right? The reason I'm labeling those is because I'm going to plug them into this formula now at this point. So wherever I see x sub 2, I'm going to plug into this formula. This is my midpoint. So x sub 1 is negative 2, so I'm plugging in negative 2 here. X sub 2 is 5, sorry, so I'm plugging it in and then dividing by 2, so I'm just keeping everything the same. After that, and then we're going to plug in y sub 1 and y sub 2. So 3 is y sub 1, negative 3 is y sub 2. All right, so we plugged it in. Now, I don't want to leave it as this ugly answer, so I'm going to go ahead and add and divide by 2. So negative 2 plus 5 is 3. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Okay, and then 3 plus 3 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. And then this is your midpoint, okay? And a good way to check yourself is if I go to 1.5, which is about here, 0, this right here should be my midpoint. And it looks like the midpoint, doesn't it? All right, and then sometimes you won't be given a graph. You're just going to be given the points. So this one's actually a little easier. I'm going to label them. And where I see a lot of people go wrong is they'll label like these first two x's and these next two y's, but make sure you're doing x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, okay? then we're putting them together. So basically the other way to think about it is my midpoint is the average of my x's, so 2 plus -4 divided by 2, and the average of my y's, so 3 plus -2 divided by 2. Right, so -2 plus -4 is -6. -6 divided by 2 is, and I'll go ahead and write this out just so y'all can, I did it kind of in my head last time. 3 plus -2 is 1, and then this is -3 comma 0.5. You can leave it as 1/2 as well if you want, but there you go. All right, so you guys try these next couple ones, pause it, and then we'll do it together. All right, so you should be back. So we're doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is -5, comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. +5 is my first point. And then my other point is +2, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. All right. And then we're just gonna label it. Plug it into our formula. And this should be -1.5, comma, I don't know why I put a comma there. I need to put an equal sign, comma 0, because 5 plus -5 is 0. All right, same thing here. And I'm doing these real quick because I should have already done them. So -3.5, -0.5. Same thing. I would definitely use your calculator for these. So -3.1 plus -4.92 divided by 2. This is -4.01, -2.8 plus -3.3 divided by 2 is -3.05. There you go. All right, so this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Okay, so when you're given a midpoint, this time you're gonna be given a midpoint and an endpoint, and you're gonna have to find the other endpoint. So if one endpoint, let's say, are 5, -3, and the midpoint is 2, 4, find the coordinates of the other endpoint. So here we're really gonna utilize the formula, which the formula is x(1) plus x(2) divided by 2, and then y(1) plus y(2) divided by 2 is equal to m, which is your midpoint. So this time we're given m, okay, and then we're given one of the midpoints, or one of the endpoints. So this is, let's just label this one x(1), y(1), and we're just gonna plug that in wherever we see it. So 5, we're gonna leave x(2) by itself, and then we're gonna plug in -3 for y(1), and then we're also gonna plug in our midpoint, which is 2, 4, right? Then I know this side, okay, should equal 2, and this side should equal 4. So I'm gonna create two different equations. One that says 5 plus x(2) over 2 is equal to 2. And then I'm gonna create another equation, which is -3 plus y(2) all over 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so, and then from there, we're just solving for x(2) and y(2). So we're gonna multiply by 2, 5 plus x sub 2 is equal to 4, subtract by 5. X sub 2 is equal to negative 1. And then same thing, I'm going to multiply by 2. Negative 3 plus y sub 2 is equal to 8. Add 3. Y sub 2 is equal to 11. So our other endpoint is negative 1, 11. Sorry about that. All right, so that's a lot more work than the last problems were. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and work through these, and then I'll work through them after. All right, here we go. So it's very important to remember, okay, this is the endpoint, this is the midpoint, so make sure you're keeping those straight. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set it up from the get-go the way I want it, because it's gonna be the same procedure for all three of these. So I'm label this x sub 1, y sub 1. I know x sub 1, I know x sub 1 is negative 6, plus x sub 2 should equal 4. So my x is going to equal 4, which is my other x I'm given. And then I know my two y's added together, sorry, which is 4 plus whatever my other y value is divided by 2 should equal 8. And then from there, I'm just going to solve. And I'm out of room. So there we go. So I'm going to write this down here. So this 1 over here is at negative 6 plus x sub 2 equals 4 divided by, this is divided by 2. I'm copying what I had written up here. All right, I'm going to multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. So negative 6 plus x sub 2 is equal to 8. And 4 plus y sub 2 is equal to 16. I'll add 6 over here. X sub 2, is equal to 14. And then subtract 4. Y sub 2 is equal to 12. So my answer is 14, 12. Right? And then I'm going to try to write smaller if I can. Okay. So this is negative 1 plus x sub 2, which is what I don't know, divided by 2 is equal to 9. And you can tell I'm just kind of doing a couple of shortcuts through here. Let's see. Just going straight to that. Multiply by 2. Negative 1 is equal to, plus x sub 2 is equal to 18. Add 1. X sub 2 is equal to 19. We're going to do the same thing over here. Multiply by 2. 9 plus y sub 2 is equal to negative 20. Subtract 9, so y sub 2 is equal to negative 29. So my final answer would be 19, negative 29 for that problem. Okay, same thing here. We're gonna label this x sub 1, y sub 1. So x sub 1 plus the x sub 2 that I don't know divided by 2 should equal my midpoint x, which is negative 10. Then again, we're gonna do 2 plus the y sub 2 that I don't know divided by 2 should equal this y over here. I'm going to multiply by 2. 5 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative 20 minus 5. X sub 2 is equal to negative 25. And then multiply by 2. 2 plus y sub 2 is equal to negative 4. Subtract 2. Y sub 2 is equal to negative 6. So my answer should be negative 25, negative 6. All right. And that is it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all soon.